And now, Texoma's only prime-time news. This is Fox, Texoma's News at 9.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Doug Bilyeu in for Daryl Franklin. Tomorrow marks 5 years since a house fire on the east side of Wichita Falls claimed the lives of 2 small girls. And today, there is word that their mother has been acquitted of contributing to their deaths by the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. It happened yesterday. Sharon Ann Williams was convicted on 2 counts of reckless injury to a child almost a year after 8-year-old Precious and 7-year-old Eugenia were killed. She left them with her boyfriend, Herbert Bowden, with no utilities and an exterior door to the house nailed shut. Bowden apparently did not want the girls to have to be in the dark and lit a candle before leaving the house to smoke a cigarette. He's claimed all along, though, that he was actually asleep in the house when the fire started but couldn't get to the girls. Prosecutor John Gillespie says he's disappointed with the ruling, while the defense claims he's finally seen justice.
She takes them out of that home and walks them down to this shack and leaves them with this vagrant with a lit candle on the floor, puts them to bed in the back room of this shack that's a fire hazard, and then goes off and leaves and never comes back like she's supposed to.
Well, I think finally justice has been served in the case. I felt all the way from the very beginning that it was a very tragic circumstance that happened, but it wasn't a criminal act on her part.
Bowden was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Williams was sentenced to 15 years on each count. She's not yet been released from prison. Well, the next-door neighbor at the time of that fire still lives there. Sammy Beatty says he'll never forget what happened to those little girls. Beatty says Sharon Ann was doing what anyone without utilities would do. He's referring to the candle that was burning in the house, which was being used as a source of light because the utilities had been turned off. Beatty says for a mother to lose 2 children is justice being served.
Her serving time is not going to fix anything. She's going to suffer the rest of her life, and I felt like it was wrong in the first place for her to do time.
Well, another victim from a fatal car accident on Highway 79 2 weeks ago has died. 64-year-old Kenneth White was driving a car that was hit head-on by a delivery truck. He'd just been upgraded to serious condition from critical. The hospital spokeswoman says White unexpectedly took a turn for the worse Wednesday afternoon. His passenger, 60-year-old Juanita Nichols, died instantly in that crash. Charges against the driver of the truck are still under review as the investigation continues. A former Durham school service bus driver committed no criminal actions on August 27th, the first day of school in Wichita Falls. And that's the word at least from a Wichita County grand jury. Authorities say the driver ordered children off the bus at the wrong intersection, and the police department investigated the case before Assistant District Attorney Starla Jones presented it to the grand jury. That grand jury declined to return an indictment for the former driver. Well, a Texoma man who's made a name for himself as a pilot who shot down the last Japanese bomber during World War II has added another highlight to his legacy. 83-year-old Tom Danaher became the first person to fly a World War I-era Curtiss Jenny plane in Wichita Falls in nearly 90 years. Victor Wynn witnessed the historic flight at Lake Wichita Airport this afternoon. And Victor, this isn't the last time this old plane's going to take to the skies, huh?
Well, Doug, Danaher doesn't want it to be. He's trying to log 3 hours of flight time in the Jenny so they can meet FAA qualifications and fly the plane at the upcoming air show at Shepherd. The Curtiss Jenny had been sitting in a hangar at Kickapoo Airport after it was assembled several weeks ago. City leaders recently bought it from an Indiana dealer for about $350,000, and it's currently under the supervision of the Museum of North Texas History. Now, there are only 6 fully restored models left in the world, and in an amazing coincidence, the one Danaher flew today was actually stationed here at Caulfield during World War I.
It's pretty thrilling, I'll tell you. It's gratifying to be able to fly this plane, too, that they will entrust it to me to fly. That's what I should say.
Now, if the Jenny passes FAA inspections, you could see it in action at the air show at Shepherd Air Force Base on Saturday, October 20th.
An amazing sight, that's for sure. Victor, thank you. Well, here's a look at some of the stories making news from around the nation tonight. The hunt is on for the gunman who killed 2 armored car guards this morning in Philadelphia. It was a double murder caught on surveillance tape. The guards were just doing their job, withdrawing cash from a bank's ATM machine. Police say that's when the gunman approached from behind, never giving them a chance to even give up. A third guard who was in the truck was treated and released from a hospital for cuts after a gunshot was fired at the windshield. A Minnesota judge denied today Idaho Republican Senator Larry Craig's request to withdraw his guilty plea, and the 17-year senator says he's not going anywhere. The judge ruled Craig will have to stand by his decision that he made on August 8th. That's when he pleaded guilty after his arrest by an airport officer in a bathroom sex sting. Craig says since he announced that he may resign, he's actually been able to be effective in representing his state in Washington and has no plans to step down. However, he says he will not be running for another term next year. And some residents were allowed back into their homes today after yesterday's massive landslide in San Diego. The area is under a state of emergency after the slide that destroyed 2 homes and forced the evacuation of more than 100 other houses in La Jolla. The area has a history of landslides dating back to the 1960s. Residents say the city did not do enough to warn them, but city officials say warnings had gone out since this summer that the land was loose. The landslide also created a massive sinkhole in the street, but somehow, luckily, no one was hurt. I'm checking in now with Skip, and boy, it just keeps getting warmer all week. I'm ready for a little bit of a cool down. It is fall.
Probably going to have to wait a couple of days for that. Maybe by the end of the weekend, some milder temperatures will move in here. Tonight, though, we've been watching some thunderstorms that have been down around Midland moving in this direction, heading toward King County. Only light rain showers, and that's not going to hurt anyone's feelings. Humidities are fairly low, so rain chances for most of us are just almost slim to none. But we've got some storms coming up from the east as well, moving west, and they might just get here about Wednesday, maybe even before that. We'll talk about that in a couple of minutes.
All right, Skip, we'll see you then. Thank you. Well, the race for the cure is fast approaching, so up next we're going to talk to a physical therapist about problems and treatments surrounding breast cancer. And after tonight's sports in a minute, we'll show you what to expect if you're heading out for popcorn in a movie at Texoma Theaters this weekend. All of this after Skip and the weather. Stay with us.
You're watching Fox, Texoma's News at 9, with Daryl Franklin, Texoma's only primetime news. This is Fox, Texoma's News at 9. Closed captioning on Texoma's Fox is brought to you by Wichita Falls personal injury attorneys Mason, Snodgrass, and Ostovich.
At State. It has been raining most of the day in parts of Louisiana and Mississippi as this low moves to the west very slowly. Usually this time of the year you look at this and say, could it turn tropical? Well, there are no thunderstorms around the core of the low. They're all back out to the north and to the east. So the chances of it turning like into a tropical storm or anything like that, almost non-existent. It is going to start moving up to the north, though, as this flow continues to kind of block its westward movement. Probably I-35 and points east will get the rain tomorrow and into Saturday, and then we're going to watch a front to the west head toward us very slowly, but tomorrow is just going to be downright hot in the mid-90s, so no cooling off just yet. Here are the showers and thunderstorms that formed around Midland and back toward Abilene, and then they continue to move up slowly toward us. The heaviest showers to the southwest of Abilene at the moment. Most of these are moving to the east-northeast at about 15 miles an hour. No severe weather in the last several hours, so we're getting some high clouds off of that, but that's about it. Showers and thunderstorms also in through the Four Corners area back in the excuse me, New Mexico. Darby's Big Furniture Fox Cam, well, we'll put it in motion, and you will notice that as it goes towards sunset, there's the high clouds that are coming off of those thunderstorms to our southwest. They will continue to overspread the area later on tonight. So we'll see a few high clouds, but not much in the way of precipitation. All these are all ice crystals, and that doesn't produce any rain, so we'd like to have that. High today, 93. 83 is normal. 58 is the average low. 73 this morning. 97 in the year 2000, at least one of the year. 42 in 1975. Highs across Texoma this afternoon range from the cool spot, Waurika at 89, to the warm spots, Monday at 95, Throckmorton 94, Coral had a 95, Altus turned in 95, most of the rest of us 92, 93, and Altus had a 91. It is 81 in Wichita Falls at 9 o'clock, mostly clear skies. 27 degrees centigrade, dew point at 56, southeast winds at 14, and 29.84 and rising is the barometer. Very mild all across Texas and Oklahoma, 60s, 70s, and 80s, but you got to go out to Albuquerque to find the 66. A little closer to home, temperatures in Lawton at 77, Childress 83, Graham at 81, Mineral Wells 76, Ardmore at 79. Showers and thunderstorms have continued down in the southeast. That's good. They like that. Pacific Northwest, that trough of low pressure continuing to deepen, and it will continue to move southward and then move toward us very slowly over the next 48 hours or so. But it looks like it's going to be probably Sunday before this gets here. Put it in motion, showers and thunderstorms in the southeast. The low finally starts to move a bit to the north. That keeps the rain east of I-35. The front moves toward us very slowly, but it doesn't do much for our weather except give us a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms on Saturday with a slightly better chance on Sunday. Forecast for the rest of the night, mostly clear. A few high clouds out there, mid-60s. Southeast winds at 10 to 15. Partly cloudy in the morning, 87 by noon. Winds out of the south-southeast at about 10 to 15. By the afternoon, look for probably partly cloudy skies. 94 to 98, warmer than it's been in a little while. Southeast winds at 10 to 15, 7:13 sunset. And for the 7, 20% chance on Saturday, 30% chance on Sunday, which we will have to watch to see if they're going to be on the severe side. Cooling off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Nighttime temperatures could reach the upper 50s. Not bad. Daytime temperatures in the 80s. No freeze, no cold weather just yet.
But we'll take what we got.
Yeah,
a little bit of a decrease.
Cool.
All right, Skip, thank you. Well, still ahead, we're going to take a look at some of the biggest new movies coming to Texoma theaters this weekend. You're watching Texoma's News at 9.
Tonight's weather on Texoma's Fox is brought to you by your local Ford dealers.
Well, in medical news tonight, we're talking about breast cancer. Each year in the United States, 210,000 women are diagnosed with the disease. Each year, 40,000 die from it. Now, for women undergoing a mastectomy, life can be doubly hard, especially when it comes to the recovery. And that's when you need a physical therapist. Dana Daniels is a physical therapist at the North Texas Rehab Center and joins us tonight. Dana, thanks for coming in tonight.
Thank you.
You've treated several breast cancer patients. What's the most common problem that you see when you have a patient come in?
Well, you know, it's a real good question because when you think about the treatments for cancer, you typically think of three things: radiation, chemotherapy, and surgery. And each of those in their individual ways have things that can bring about a potential for a need for physical therapy. When we talk about breast cancer, often we're talking about women who have gone through all three: surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation. And so certainly there is the need, or the potential for the need for them to have to come for physical therapy at that point because of loss of range of motion, loss of strength, loss of endurance that come with those treatments.
What can a patient expect when they go in for some type of physical therapy after they've gone through this type of treatment?
Well, certainly we'll start out with a thorough evaluation of what their needs are because each one's going to present differently depending on what they've been through. But mostly, if we're talking about those three things that we've talked about, we're going to be looking at some course of exercise and stretching, range of motion to try to get that motion back. Many women are very apprehensive to move their limb after surgery. It can be painful. It can be kind of scary to start getting back into motion and function, and they just need someone there to guide them in how much to do, that they don't do too much, and that they get enough to get back everything that they can to get back to life.
What kind of time period are we talking about usually? Does it vary from case to case?
It really does vary from case to case, and some of them are in continued treatments as they are receiving their physical therapy, and we have to kind of stop sometimes while they are continuing to go back to more treatment. So it's a very varied thing. And how complex it is, but certainly it can be a short term and maybe just as short as a couple of weeks that they need just to get them guided back and on their feet.
Now, you've also treated patients who've developed a condition from their surgery called lymphedema. What is it, first of all, and then what's the typical treatment for that condition?
Right, and that's probably actually the most common referral that we do get. And lymphedema is a condition after they have had a mastectomy. During that process of the surgery, actually, they often have to remove a group of lymph nodes, and that leaves them susceptible to this condition. And it's where the fluid that surrounds the cells of our body don't have the potential to move about as they should. And so fluid can collect in the arm. It can become very, very swollen, difficult to move, very uncomfortable, and leaves them with a really bad difficult time getting back to life, being able to reach things, getting up into cabinets. It's very debilitating for them.
And real quickly, we want to talk about a big event that's coming up weekend after next.
Yes, that is the Race for the Cure. That is coming up a week from Saturday. There is a survivor dinner the night of Friday, the October 12th, and that is at the Women's Forum, and your very own Carol Davis will be speaking for that. The race is then the next day, Saturday morning. Be there at 7 o'clock on the 13th.
And, of course, 687-3672, the number to call if you want more information. Dana, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you coming in this evening.
Thank you very much.
Well, don't go away, everyone. Your Sports in a Minute is just ahead.
Tonight's Medical Minute on Texoma's Fox is brought to you by United Regional.